First Chronicles, chapter 1. Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Ham and Japheth. Sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, the Medes, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, Tiras. Sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah. Sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittim, the Danaanites. Sons of Ham: Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan. Sons of Cush: Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, Sabbatika. Sons of Rama: Sheba, Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod, the first mighty warrior on earth. Mizraim fathered the people of Lud, of Anam, of Lehab, of Naphtu, of Pathros, Caslu and Caphtor, from which the Philistines came. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, then Hate, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, Hamathites. Sons of Shem: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, Aram. Sons of Aram: Uz, Hul, Gether and Meshech. Arpachshad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. The first was called Peleg, because it was in his time that the earth was divided into districts, and his brother was called Joktan. Joktan fathered Almodad, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Dikla, Ebal, Abimarel, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, Jobab. All these are sons of Joktan. Arpachshad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Ru, Serug, Nahor, Terah, Abram, that is, Abraham. Sons of Abraham: Isaac and Ishmael. These are their descendants. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebaioth, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadda, Tema, Jetur, Naphish and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael. Sons of Keturah: Abraham's concubine. She gave birth to Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Sons of Jokshan: Sheba and Dedan. Sons of Midian: Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, Eldah. All these are sons of Keturah. Abraham fathered Isaac. Sons of Isaac: Esau and Israel. Sons of Esau: Eliphaz, Ruel, Jush, Jalam and Korah. Sons of Eliphaz: Taman, Omar, Zephi, Gatam, Kenas, Timnah, Amalek. Sons of Ruel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, Mizah. Sons of Seir: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishan, Ezer, Dishon. Sons of Lotan: Hori and Homam. Sister of Lotan: Timah. Sons of Shobal: Alian, Manahath, Ebal, Shephi, Onam. Sons of Zibeon: Aiah and Anna. Son of Anna: Dishan. Sons of Dishan: Hamran, Eshban, Ithran, Cheran. Sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zavan, Jachan. Sons of Dishon: Uzi and Aaron. These are the kings who ruled in Edom before an Israelite king ruled. Bela son of Beer. His city was called Dinhabah. Bela died, and Jobab son of Zerah, from Bozrah, succeeded. Jobab died, and Husham from the territory of the Temanites succeeded. Husham died and had a son of Bedad succeeded. He defeated the Midianites in Moab, and his city was called Avith. Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah succeeded. Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth-Hanahar succeeded. Shaul died, and Balhanan son of Achbor succeeded. Balhanan died, and Hadad succeeded. His city was called Pai. His wife's name was Mehetabel daughter of Matred, daughter of Mezahab. Hadad died, and then there were chiefs in Edom, chief Timnah, chief Eliah, chief Jethath, chief Oholibamah, chief Elah, chief Pinion, chief Kenaz, chief Taman, chief Mibzar, chief Magdiel, chief Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom. First Chronicles, chapter 2. These are the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, and Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Sons of Judah: Er, Onan, and Shelah. These three were born to him by Bathsheba the Canaanite woman. Er, Judah's firstborn, displeased Yahweh, who put him to death. Tamar, Judah's daughter-in-law, bore him Perez and Zerah. Judah had 5 sons in all. Sons of Perez: Hezron and Hamul. Sons of Zerah: Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Dara, 5 in all. Sons of Carmi: Achar, who brought trouble on Israel by being unfaithful to the curse of destruction. Sons of Ethan: Azariah. Sons of Hezron: there were born to him Jerahmeel, Ram, Chelebai. Ram fathered Amminadab. Amminadab fathered Nahshon, chief of the sons of Judah. Nahshon fathered Salma. Salma fathered Boaz. Boaz fathered Obed. Obed fathered Jesse. Jesse fathered Eliab, his firstborn, Abinadab second, Shemaiah third, Nethanel fourth, Raddai fifth, Ozem sixth, David seventh. Their sisters were Zeruiah and Abigail. Sons of Zeruiah: Abishai, Joab, and Asahel, 3. Abigail gave birth to Amasa. Father of Amasa was Jether the Ishmaelite. Caleb son of Hezron fathered Jerioth by Azubah his wife. These are her sons: Jesher, Shobab, and Arden. Azubah died, and Caleb married Ephrath, who bore him her. Her fathered Uri. Uri fathered Bezalel. Afterwards, Hezron married the daughter of Machir, father of Gilead. He married her when he was 60 years old, and she bore him Segub. Segub fathered Jair, who held 23 towns in the territory of Gilead. From them, however, Geshur and Aram took the encampments of Jair and Kenath with its dependencies, 60 towns. All these used to belong to the sons of Machir, father of Gilead. After Hezron's death, Caleb married Ephrathah, wife of Hezron his father, who bore him Ashur, father of Tekoa. Jerahmeel, Hezron's eldest son, fathered Hezron, his firstborn, Ram, Bunah, Oren, Ozem, Ahijah. Jerahmeel had another wife called Atara. She was the mother of Onam. Sons of Ram, Jerahmeel's firstborn: Maz, Jamin, and Eker. Sons of Onam: Shammai and Jada. Sons of Shammai: Nadab and Abishur. Abishur's wife was called Abihail. She bore him Aban and Malad. Sons of Nadab: Seald and Ephraim. Seald died, leaving no son. Son of Ephraim: Ishi. Son of Ishi: Sheshan. Son of Sheshan: Aleh. Sons of Jada: Shammai's brother, Jether and Jonathan. Jether died, leaving no sons. Sons of Jonathan: Peleth and Zaza. These were the sons of Jerahmeel. Sheshan had no sons, only daughters. He had an Egyptian slave Jarha, to whom Sheshan gave his daughter in marriage. She bore him Attai. Attai fathered Nathan. Nathan fathered Zabad. Zabad fathered Ephlal. Ephlal fathered Obed. Obed fathered Jehu. Jehu fathered Azariah. Azariah fathered Helez. Helez fathered Elisa. Elisa fathered Sismai. Sismai fathered Shallum. Shallum fathered Jechamiah. Jechamiah fathered Elishama. Sons of Caleb, Jerahmeel's brother: Misha, his firstborn, who fathered Ziph. His son was Mer Shah, father of Hebron. Sons of Hebron: Korah, Tapua, Rechem, and Shema. Shema fathered Raham, father of Jorkim. Rechem fathered Shammai. Shammai's son was Maon, and Maon fathered Bethzur. Ephah, Caleb's concubine, gave birth to Haran, Moza, and Gazez. Haran fathered Gazez. Sons of Jadai, Regem, Jotham, Gashan, Pelet, Ephah, and Shaph. Makkah, Caleb's concubine, gave birth to Sheber and Tirana. She gave birth to Shaph, who fathered Madmannah, and Shiva, who fathered Machbena and Gibeah. The daughter of Caleb was Aksa. These were the sons of Caleb. Sons of her, the firstborn of Ephrathah. Shobal fathered Kiriath-jearim. Salma fathered Bethlehem. Hareph fathered Beth-gader. Shobal, father of Kiriath-jearim, had sons. Haro, that is, half of the Manahathites, and the clans of Kiriath-jearim, the Ithrites, Puthites, Shumathites, and Mishrates. Their descendants are the people of Zorah and Eshtael. Sons of Salma, Bethlehem, the Netophathites, Atroth Beth-joab, half of the Manahathites, the Zorathites, the Sophrite clans living at Jabez, the Tirathites, the Shimathites, the Sukkothites. They were the Kenite descended from Hammath, father of the house of Rechab. First Chronicles, chapter 3. These are the sons of David who were born to him in Hebron. The firstborn Amnon, by Ahinoam of Jezreel. Second, Daniel, by Abigail of Carmel. Third, Absalom son of Maacah, daughter of Talmai king of Geshur. Fourth, Adonijah son of Haggith. Fifth, Shephatiah by Abdul. Sixth, Ithream by his wife Eglah. 6, therefore, were born to him in Hebron, where he reigned for 3 years and 6 months. He reigned for 33 years in Jerusalem. These are the sons who were born to him in Jerusalem: Shemaiah, Shobab, Nathan, Solomon, the 4 of them children of Bathsheba daughter of Amiel, Ibhar, Elishama, Eliphalet, Noga, Nepheg, Japhia, Elishama, Eliada, Eliphalet. 9. All these were sons of David, not counting the sons of the concubines. Tamar was their sister. Sons of Solomon: Rehoboam, Abijah his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Joram his son, Ahaziah his son, Josh his son, Amaziah his son, Azariah his son, Jotham his son, Ahaz his son, Hezekiah his son, Manasseh his son, Amon his son, Josiah his son. Sons of Josiah: Johanan, the firstborn, Jehoiakim second, Zedekiah third, Shallum fourth. The sons of Jehoiakim: Jeconiah his son, Zedekiah his son. Sons of Jeconiah the captive: Shealtiel his son, then Malchiram, Pedaiah, Shenazar, Jechemiah, Hoshama, Nedabiah. Sons of Pedaiah: Zerubbabel and Shimi. Sons of Zerubbabel: Meshullam and Hananiah. Shelemith was their sister. Sons of Meshullam: Hashubah, Ohol, Berechiah, Hasadiah, Jushabhezd. 5. Sons of Hananiah: Pelatiah, Jeshaiah his son, Rephaiah his son, Arnan his son, Obadiah his son, Shechaniah his son. Sons of Shechaniah: Shemaiah, Hattush, Igal, Beriah, Neariah, Shaphat. 6. Sons of Neariah: Elioenai, Hizkiah, Azrikam. 3. Sons of Elioenai: Hodaviah, Eliashib, Peliah, Akub, Johanan, Deliah, Anani. 7. First Chronicles, chapter 4. Sons of Judah: Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, Shobal. Rhea son of Shobal fathered Jahath, and Jahath fathered Ahumai and Lahad. These are the Zoriathite clans. These are Abietam, Jezreel, Ishma, and Idbash, whose sister was called Hazelelponi. Penuel fathered Geder, and Ezer fathered Husha. These were the sons of Hur, firstborn of Ephrathah and father of Bethlehem. Ashur, father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Nara. Nara bore him Ahuzam, Hepher, the Timnites, and the Ahashterites. These were the sons of Nara. Sons of Helah: Zereth, Zohar, Ethnan. Kaz fathered Anub, Hazobeba, and the clans of Aharhel son of Haram. Jabez was better known than his brothers. His mother gave him the name Jabez, because, she said, "In distress I gave birth to him." Jabez called on the God of Israel. "If you truly bless me," he said, "you will extend my lands. Your hand will be with me. You will keep harm away, and my distress will cease." God granted him what he had asked. Caleb, Shuham's brother, fathered Mehir, who fathered Eshton. Eshton fathered Bethrapha, Paseah, and Tehinnah father of Ernahash. These were the men of Rechab. Sons of Kenas: Othniel and Sariah. Sons of Othniel: Hathath and Meonothai. Meonothai fathered Ophrah. Sariah fathered Joab, father of Geharashim, for they were craftsmen. Sons of Caleb son of Jephunneh: Iru, Elah, and Nam. Sons of Elah: Kenas. Sons of Jehalelel: Ziph, Ziphah, Tiriah, Asarel. Sons of Ezra: Jether, Meerd, Epher, Jalon. She conceived Miriam, Shammai, and Ishbah, the father of Eshtemoa, whose Judean wife gave birth to Jared father of Geder, Heber father of Soko, and Jekuthiel, father of Zanoah. These were the sons of Bethiah the daughter of Pharaoh, whom Meerd had married. The sons of Hodiah's wife, sister of Nahum father of Keilah the Garmite and of Eshtemoa the Maccathite. Sons of Shimon: Amnon, Rinnah, Ben-Hanan, Tilon. Sons of Ishi: Zoheth and Ben-Zoheth. Sons of Shelah son of Judah: father of Leka, Lada father of Mershah, and the clans of linen workers at Beth-Ashbeh, Joachim, the men of Kozeba, Josh and Saraph, where Moab found wives and then returned to Bethlehem. These are old traditions. These were potters and lived at Netaim and Gedera. They resided there, working for the king. Sons of Simeon: Nemuel, Jamin, Jerib, Zerah, Saul. Shallum was his son, Mibsam his son, Mishma his son. The sons of Mishma: Hamuel his son, Zachar his son, Shimi his son. Shimi had 16 sons and 6 daughters, but his brothers did not have many children, and the sum of their clans did not multiply as the sons of Judah did. They lived in Beersheba, Malada and Hazar-Shual, Bilhah, Ezem and Tolad, Bethuel, Hormah and Ziklag, Beth-Markaboth, Hazar-Susim, Beth-Biri, Sharaim. These were their towns until the reign of David. Their settlements were Etam, Ain, Rimmon, Token and Ashan, 5 towns, and all the dependencies surrounding these towns as far as Baalath. That was where they lived, and they had an official genealogy. Meshabab, Jamlech, Joshua son of Amaziah, Joel, Jehu son of Joshabiah, son of Sariah, son of Aziel, Elioenai, Jacoba, Jeshohaiah, Asaiah, Adiel, Jezemiel, Benaiah, Ziza, Ben-Shiphi, Ben-Alon, Ben-Jediah, Ben-Shimri, Ben-Shemaiah. These above named were princes in their clans in their ancestral home. Their numbers increased enormously. In search of pasture for their flocks, they spread from the pass of Gerar to the eastern end of the valley, where they found good, fat pasture. The land was broad, untroubled, peaceful. Hamites had been living there before them. These Simonites, recorded by name, arrived there in the time of Hezekiah king of Judah. They overran their tents and the dwellings which they found there. They put them under a curse of destruction still in force today and settled in their place, since there was pasturage for their flocks. 500 of them, of the Simonites, went to Mount Seir, their leaders being Pelatiah, Neariah, Rephaiah, and Uzziel, the sons of Ishi. They defeated the surviving fugitives of Amalek and still live there today. First Chronicles, chapter 5. Sons of Reuben, firstborn of Israel. He was indeed the firstborn, but, when he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given to the sons of Joseph son of Israel, and he was no longer reckoned as the eldest son. Although Judah grew greater than his brothers, and a leader came from him, the birthright was Joseph's. Sons of Reuben, firstborn of Israel: Hanok, Palu, Hezron, Carmi. Sons of Joel: Shemaiah his son, Gog his son, Shimei his son, Micah his son, Rhea his son, Baal his son. Bera his son, whom Tiglath-Pileser king of Assyria carried off into exile, was the chief of the Reubenites. His brothers, by families, were grouped according to relationship. Jeiel was first, then Zechariah and Bela son of Azaz, son of Shema, son of Joel. It was Reuben who lived in Aroer, and his territory extended as far as Nebo and Balmeon. To eastward, what he occupied extended to the edge of the desert and the river Euphrates, for they had many herds in Gilead. In the time of Saul, they made war on the Hagrites, whom they defeated and who were then living in their tents throughout the eastern front of Gilead. Next to them, in Bashan as far as Salekah, lived the sons of Gad. Joel was the first, Shopham the second, then Janai and Shaphat in Bashan. Their brothers by families were Michael, Meshullam, Sheba, Jorai, Jachin, Zia, Eber. 7. These were the sons of Abihail: Ben-Huri, Ben-Jeroah, Ben-Gilead, Ben-Michael, Ben-Jeshishai, Ben-Jado, Ben-Buz. Ahi son of Abdeel, son of Guni, was the head of their families. They inhabited Gilead, Bashan and its dependencies, as well as all the pasture lands of Sharon on their extremities. In the time of Jotham king of Judah and in the time of Jeroboam king of Israel, all of them were included in the official genealogy. The sons of Reuben, the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh had warriors, men armed with shield and sword who could handle the bow and were trained for war, to the number of 44,760 fit for service. They made war on the Hagrites, on Jetur, Naphish and Nodab. God came to their help, and the Hagrites and all their allies fell into their hands. For they called on God as they fought, and because they put their trust in him, he heard their prayer. Of their livestock they carried off 50,000 camels, 250,000 sheep, 2,000 donkeys and 100,000 people. Because the war was of God, the slaughter was great. They continued to live in their territory until the exile. The sons of the half-tribe of Manasseh lived in the territory between Bashan and Baal-Hermon, Senir and Mount Hermon. They were numerous. These were the heads of their families: Epher, Ishi, Eliel, Osriel, Jeremiah, Hodaviah, Jodiel, stout fighting men, men of renown, heads of their families. But since they were unfaithful to the God of their ancestors and prostituted themselves to the gods of the peoples of the country whom God had destroyed before them, the God of Israel roused the hostility of Pul, king of Assyria, that is the wrath of Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, who deported them, the Reubenites, the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, taking them off to Hala, Habor, Hara and the river of Gozan. They are still there today. Sons of Levi: Gershom, Kohath and Merari. Sons of Kohath: Amram, Izhar, Hebron, Uzziel. Children of Amram: Aaron, Moses and Miriam. Sons of Aaron: Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. Eleazar fathered Phinehas. Phinehas fathered Abishua. Abishua fathered Buki. Buki fathered Uzzi. Uzzi fathered Zerahiah. Zerahiah fathered Meraioth. Meraioth fathered Amariah. Amariah fathered Ahitub. Ahitub fathered Zadok. Zadok fathered Ahimaaz. Ahimaaz fathered Azariah. Azariah fathered Johanan. Johanan fathered Azariah. He it was who officiated as priest in the temple which Solomon built in Jerusalem. Azariah fathered Amariah. Amariah fathered Ahitub. Ahitub fathered Zadok. Zadok fathered Shallum. Shallum fathered Hilkiah. Hilkiah fathered Azariah. Azariah fathered Sariah. Sariah fathered Jehozadak. And Jehozadak went into exile when, at the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, Yahweh exiled Judah and Jerusalem. First Chronicles, chapter 6. Sons of Levi: Gershom, Kohath and Merari. These are the names of the sons of Gershom: Libni and Shimei. Sons of Kohath: Amram, Izhar, Hebron, Uzziel. Sons of Merari: Mali and Mushi. These are the Levitical clans according to their father. Of Gershom, Libni his son, Jahath his son, Zimmah his son, Joah his son, Iddo his son, Zerah his son, Jetheri his son. Sons of Kohath: Amminadab his son, Korah his son, Assur his son, Elkanah his son, Ebiasaph his son, Assur his son. Tahath his son, Uriel his son, Uzziah his son, Shaul his son. Sons of Elkanah: Amasai and Ahimoth. Elkanah his son, Zophai his son, Nahath his son, Eliab his son, Jeraham his son, Elkanah his son. Sons of Elkanah: Samuel his firstborn, the second Abijah. Sons of Merari: Mali, Libni his son, Shimei his son, Haggiah his son, Asaiah his son. These are the men whom David nominated to lead the singing in the temple of Yahweh after the ark had come to rest there. They were responsible for the singing before the dwelling, the tent of meeting, until Solomon had built the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem and then continued their customary duties. These were the persons in office, with their sons. Of the sons of Kohath: Heman the singer, son of Joel, son of Samuel, son of Elkanah, son of Jeraham, son of Eliel, son of Toah, son of Zuph, son of Elkanah, son of Mahath, son of Amasai, son of Elkanah, son of Joel, son of Azariah, son of Zephaniah, son of Tahath, son of Assur, son of Ebiasaph, son of Korah, son of Azar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, son of Israel. His brother Asaph stood on his right. Asaph son of Berechiah, son of Shemaiah, son of Michael, son of Baaseiah, son of Malchijah, son of Ethni, son of Zerah, son of Adaiah, son of Ethan, son of Zimmah, son of Shimei, son of Jahath, son of Gershom, son of Levi. On the left, the sons of Merari: Ethan son of Kishi, son of Abdi, son of Malach, son of Hashabiah, son of Amaziah, son of Hilkiah, son of Amzi, son of Bani, son of Shemer, son of Mali, son of Mushi, son of Merari, son of Levi. Their brother Levites were dedicated for all the other duties of the dwelling, the temple of God. But Aaron and his sons burned the offerings on the altar of burnt offering and on the altar of incense. They were entirely responsible for the most holy things and for the ritual of expiation for Israel, in accordance with all that Moses, servant of God, had commanded. These were the sons of Aaron: Eleazar his son, Phinehas his son, Abishua his son, Buki his son, Uzzi his son, Zerahiah his son, Meraioth his son, Amariah his son, Ahitub his son, Zadok his son, Ahimaaz his son. These were their places of settlement within their prescribed territory. The sons of Aaron of the Kohathite clan, for to these the first lot fell, were given Hebron in the territory of Judah with its surrounding pasture lands. But the open country of the town and its dependencies were given to Caleb son of Jephunneh. The sons of Aaron were also given the cities of refuge: Hebron, Libnah with its pasture lands, Jattir, Eshtemoa with its pasture lands, Hilan with its pasture lands, Debir with its pasture lands, Ashan with its pasture lands, and Beth Shemesh with its pasture lands. And, from the tribe of Benjamin, Geba with its pasture lands, Ailmeth with its pasture lands, and Anathoth with its pasture lands. In all, the towns distributed among their clans numbered 13. The remaining sons of Kohath were allotted 10 towns from the clans of the tribe, that is, from the half-tribe of Manasseh. The sons of Gershom and their clans were allotted 13 towns from the tribe of Issachar, from the tribe of Asher, from the tribe of Naphtali and from the tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The sons of Merari and their clans were allotted 12 towns from the tribe of Reuben, from the tribe of Gad and from the tribe of Zebulun. The Israelites gave these towns with their pasture lands to the Levites. From the tribe of the sons of Judah, from the tribe of the sons of Simeon and from the tribe of the sons of Benjamin, they also allotted them those towns to which they gave their names. Towns from the tribe of Ephraim were also assigned to the territory of some clans of the sons of Kohath. They were given the cities of refuge: Shechem and the highlands of Ephraim with its pasture lands, Gezer and its pasture lands, Jokmeam with its pasture lands, Beth-horon with its pasture lands, Aijalon with its pasture lands and Gathrimmon with its pasture lands, and from the half-tribe of Manasseh, Aner with its pasture lands and Bileam with its pasture lands. So much was given to the remaining families of the sons of Kohath. From the half-tribe of Manasseh, the sons of Gershom according to family were given Golan in Bashan with its pasture lands and Ashtaroth with its pasture lands. From the tribe of Issachar, Kadesh with its pasture lands, Daberath with its pasture lands, Ramoth with its pasture lands and Anam with its pasture lands. From the tribe of Asher, Mashal with its pasture lands, Abdon with its pasture lands, Hukok with its pasture lands and Rehob with its pasture lands. From the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galilee with its pasture lands, Hammon with its pasture lands and Kiriataim with its pasture lands. To the remainder of the sons of Merari, from the tribe of Zebulun, Rimmon with its pasture lands and Tabor with its pasture lands. In Transjordan, near Jericho, east of the Jordan, from the tribe of Reuben, Bezer in the desert with its pasture lands, Jahzah with its pasture lands, Kedemoth with its pasture lands and Mephath with its pasture lands. From the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead with its pasture lands, Mahanaim with its pasture lands, Heshbon with its pasture lands and Jazer with its pasture lands. First Chronicles, chapter 7. For the sons of Issachar, Tola, Puah, Jashub, Shimron, 4. Sons of Tola, Uzzi, Rephaiah, Jeriel, Jamai, Ibsam, Shemuel, heads of their families of Tola. In the time of David, these numbered 22,600 stout fighting men, grouped according to their kinship. Sons of Uzzi, Izrahiah. Sons of Izrahiah, Michael, Obadiah, Joel, Ishiah. In all 5 chiefs, responsible for fighting companies amounting to 36,000 troops, according to relationship and family, for they had many women and children. They had kinsmen belonging to all the clans of Issachar, 87,000 stout fighting men, all belonging to one related group. Sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, Jediel, 3. Sons of Bela, Esbon, Uzzi, Uzziel, Jerimoth and Iri, 5. Chiefs of families and warriors. Their official genealogy included 22,034 members. Sons of Becher, Zemira, Josh, Eliezer, Elioenai, Omri, Jerimoth, Abijah, Anathoth, Aelmeth. All these were the sons of Becher. The official genealogy of the descendants of the chiefs of their families included 20,200 warriors. Sons of Jediel, Bilhan. Sons of Bilhan, Jush, Benjamin, Ehud, Shenanah, Zethan, Tarshish, Ahishahar. All these sons of Jediel became heads of families, stout fighting men, numbering 17,200 men fit for active service. Shuppim and Huppim, son of Ir, Hushim, his son, Ahair. Sons of Naphtali, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, Shallum. These were the sons of Bilhah. Sons of Manasseh, Asriel, born of his Aramean concubine. She gave birth to Machir, father of Gilead. Machir took a wife for Huppim and Shuppim. His sister's name was Maacah. The name of the second son was Zelophehad. Zelophehad had daughters. Maacah, the wife of Machir, gave birth to a son whom she called Peresh. His brother was called Sheresh, and his sons Ulam and Racham. Sons of Ulam: Bedan. These were the sons of Gilead son of Machir, son of Manasseh. His sister Hamilketh gave birth to Ishad, Abizer, and Mala. Shemitah had sons: Ahian, Shechem, Leki, and Aniam. Sons of Ephraim: Shuthelah, Bared his son, Tahath his son, Elida his son, Tahath his son, Zabad his son, Shuthelah his son, and Ezer and Elid, whom the men of Gath, natives of the country, killed when they came down to raid their cattle. Their father Ephraim mourned for a long time, and his brothers came to comfort him. He had intercourse with his wife, who conceived and gave birth to a son whom he called Beriah, because his house was in misfortune. He had a daughter, Shirah, who built Upper and Lower Beth-horon and Uzzen-Shirah. Repha was his son, Shuthelah his son, Tahan his son, Ladan his son, Ammihud his son, Elishama his son, Nun his son, Joshua his son. They had lands and settlements in Bethel and its dependencies, from Naran on the east to Gezer and its dependencies on the west, as well as Shechem and its dependencies as far as Aiah and its dependencies, Beth-shean with its dependencies, Tanakh and its dependencies, Megiddo and its dependencies, and Dor with its dependencies were in the hands of the sons of Manasseh. There lived the sons of Joseph son of Israel. Sons of Asher: Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, their sister Sarah. Sons of Beriah: Heber and Malkiel. He fathered Berzaith. Heber fathered Japhlet, Shomer, Hotham, and their sister Shua. Sons of Japhlet: Pasach, Bimhal, and Ushvath. These were the sons of Japhlet. Sons of Shomer his brother: Roga, Hubbah, and Aram. Sons of Helam his brother: Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. Sons of Zophah: Suah, Harnepher, Shual, Beri, and Imrah. Bezer, Had, Shammah, Shilsha, Ithran, and Bera. Sons of Ithran: Jephunneh, Pispa, Era. Sons of Ulla: Ara, Haniel, Rizia. All these were the sons of Asher, heads of families, picked men, warriors, and senior princes. They were registered in fighting companies to the number of 26,000 men. First Chronicles, chapter 8. Benjamin was father of Bela, his firstborn, Ashbel second, Ahiram third, Noah fourth, Rapha fifth. Bela had sons: Adar, Gera father of Ehud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoah, Gera, Shepaphan, and Huram. These are the sons of Ehud. They were heads of families of the inhabitants of Geba, and led them into exile at Manahath. Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera. It was he who led them into exile. He became the father of Uzzah and Ahihud. Shaharaim had children in the plains of Moab after he had dismissed his wives, Hushim and Bara. By his new wife he had sons: Jobab, Zibiah, Mesha, Malcham, Juz, Sakiah, Mirma. These were his sons, heads of families. By Hushim he had sons: Abitub and Elpal. The sons of Elpal were Eber, Mizham, and Shemd, who built Ono and Lud and its dependencies. Beriah and Shema were the chiefs of the families who lived at Aijalon. They routed the inhabitants of Gath. His brother was Shashak. Jerimoth, Zebadiah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ishba, Joha were the sons of Beriah. Zebadiah, Meshullam, Hizki, Haber, Ishmerai, Isliah, Jobab were the sons of Elpal. Jachim, Zikri, Zabdi, Elianai, Zilathai, Eliel, Adaiah, Beriah, Shimrath were the sons of Shimi. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anthothijah, Ifdiah, Penuel were the sons of Shashak, Shamsherai, Shehariah, Athaliah, Jerushiah, Elijah, Zikri were the sons of Jeraham. These were chiefs of families according to their relationship. They lived in Jerusalem. At Gibeon lived Jeiel the father of Gibeon, whose wife was called Maachah. His firstborn son was Abdon, then Zur, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechar and Mikloth. Mikloth fathered Shemiah. But they, unlike their brothers, lived at Jerusalem with their brothers. fathered Kish, Kish fathered Saul, Saul fathered Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab and Eshbal. Son of Jonathan, Meribel. Meribel fathered Micah. Sons of Micah, Pithon, Melech, Teriah, Ahaz. Ahaz fathered Jehoda. Jehoda fathered Aelmeth, Asmaveth and Zimri. Zimri fathered Moza. Moza fathered Bineah, Rapha his son, Elisa his son and Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons, whose names were these: Azrikam, his firstborn, then Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, Hanan. All these were sons of Azel. Sons of Eshek his brother: Ulam, his firstborn, Jush second, Eliphalet third. The sons of Ulam were warriors archers. They had as many as 150 sons and grandsons. All these belonged to the sons of Benjamin. First Chronicles, chapter 9. Thus, all Israel's official genealogies had been entered in the records of the kings of Israel and Judah before they were deported to Babylon for their infidelity. Now the first citizens to return to their property in their cities were the Israelites, the priests, the Levites, and the temple slaves. In Jerusalem, there settled Judeans, Benjaminites, Ephraimites, and Manassahites. Uthai son of Ammihud, son of Omri, son of Imri, son of Bani, one of the sons of Perez son of Judah. Of the descendants of Shelah, Asaiah, the firstborn, and his sons. Of the sons of Zerah, Jewel, and 690 of their kinsmen. And of the sons of Benjamin, Sallu son of Meshullam, son of Hodaviah, son of Hasanua, Ibniah son of Jeraham, Elah son of Uzzi, son of Michri, and Meshullam son of Shephatiah, son of Ruel, son of Ibnijah. Their kinsmen, according to their relationship, numbered 956. All these men were chiefs of their families. Of the priests there were Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, Jachin, Azariah son of Hilkiah, son of Meshullam, son of Zadok, son of Meraioth, son of Ahitub, the chief of the temple of God, Adaiah son of Jeraham, son of Pashur, son of Malchijah, and Masai son of Adiel, son of Jazerah, son of Meshullam, son of Meshillemith, son of Immer. Their kinsmen, heads of families, numbered 1,760 men expert in the ministerial service of the temple of God. Of the Levites there were Shemaiah son of Hashub, son of Azrikam, son of Hashabiah of the sons of Merari, Bakbacher, Haresh, Galai, Mattaniah son of Micah, son of Zikri, son of Asaph, Obadiah son of Shemaiah, son of Galal, son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah son of Asa, son of Elkanah, who lived in the dependencies of the Netophathites. The gatekeepers were Shallum, Akub, Talmon, Ahiman, and their kinsmen. Shallum was the chief and is still gatekeeper of the king's gate to the east. They were the gatekeepers of the camps of the sons of Levi. Shallum son of Korah, son of Ebiasaph, son of Korah, and his brothers belonging to his family, the Korahites, were also in charge of the ministerial service as doorkeepers of the tent, as their ancestors had been keepers of the entrance to the camp of Yahweh. Formerly, Phinehas son of Eleazar had been in charge of them. Yahweh be with him. Zechariah son of Meshelemiah was gatekeeper at the door of the tent of meeting. All the keepers of the gate at the thresholds were picked men. There were 212 of them. They were grouped by relationship in their various villages. These were confirmed in office by David and Samuel the seer because of their dependability. They and their sons continued in charge as guards of the gates of the temple of Yahweh, the house of the tent. The gatekeepers were assigned to the four sides, east, west, north and south, and their brothers in their villages were required to assist them from time to time for a week, since the four head gatekeepers were permanently on duty. They were Levites and were in charge of the accommodation and supplies of the temple of God. They spent the night in the precincts of the temple of God, their duties being to guard it and open it every morning. Some of them were in charge of the implements of worship, having to count them when they took them out and when they put them away. Others of them were put in charge of the implements, of all the objects in the sanctuary and of the flour, the wine, the oil, the incense and the perfume. Members of the priestly caste, however, mixed the ointment for the perfume. One of the Levites, Mattathiah, he was the firstborn of Shallum the Korahite, had regular charge of baking operations. Some of their kinsmen, the Kohathites, were responsible for the loaves to be set out in rows Sabbath by Sabbath. In addition, there were the singers, the heads of the Levitical families, who were accommodated in the temple, free of other responsibilities because they were on duty day and night. Such were the chiefs of the Levitical families, according to their relationship. These lived in Jerusalem. Jeiel, father of Gibeon, lived at Gibeon, and his wife was called Maacah. His firstborn son was Abdon, then Zur, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth fathered Shimei. But they, unlike their brothers, lived at Jerusalem with their brothers. fathered Kish, Kish fathered Saul, Saul fathered Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbal. Son of Jonathan, Meribel. Meribel fathered Micah. Sons of Micah, Pidhan, Melech, Tariah. Ahaz fathered Jerah, Jerah fathered Aalmeth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri fathered Moza, Moza fathered Bineah, Rephaiah his son, Elisa his son, and Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons. Their names were these: Azrikam his firstborn, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. First Chronicles, chapter 10. The Philistines gave battle to Israel, and the Israelites, fleeing from the Philistines, fell and were slaughtered on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines bore down on Saul and his sons, and they killed Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua, Saul's sons. The fighting grew fiercer round Saul. The archers came upon him, and he was wounded by the archers. Saul then said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through with it. I do not want these uncircumcised men to come and make fun of me." But his armor-bearer was very much afraid and would not do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell on it. His armor-bearer, seeing that Saul was dead, fell on his sword too and died with him. Thus died Saul, his 3 sons, and his entire household together. When all the Israelites who were in the valley saw that the Israelites had been routed and that Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned their towns and fled. The Philistines then came and occupied them. When the Philistines came on the following day to strip the dead, they found Saul and his sons lying on Mount Gilboa. They stripped him and, taking his head and his armor, had these carried round the territory of the Philistines to proclaim the good news to their idols and their people. They placed his armor in the temple of their gods and nailed his head up in the temple of Dagon. When all the inhabitants of Jabesh and Gilead heard everything that the Philistines had done to Saul, the warriors all set out and took the bodies of Saul and his sons away. They brought them to Jabesh and buried their bones under the tamarisk of Jabesh and fasted for 7 days. Thus died Saul in the infidelity of which he had been guilty towards Yahweh, in that he had not obeyed the word of Yahweh, and because he had consulted a necromancer for guidance. He had not consulted Yahweh, who therefore caused his death and transferred the monarchy to David's son of Jesse. First Chronicles, chapter 11. All Israel then rallied to David at Hebron and said, Look, we are your own flesh and bone. In days past when Saul was king, it was you who led Israel on its campaigns, and Yahweh your God promised you, you are to shepherd my people Israel and be leader of my people Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and David made a pact with them in Yahweh's presence at Hebron, and they anointed David as king of Israel, in accordance with the word of Yahweh through Samuel. David and all Israel then marched on Jerusalem, that is to say, Jebus. The inhabitants of the territory were the Jebusites. The inhabitants of Jebus said to David, "You will not get in here." But David captured the citadel of Zion, that is, the city of David. David said, "The first man to kill a Jebusite will be made army commander-in-chief." Joab son of Zeruiah was the first man to go up, and was made commander of the army. David went to live in the citadel, and that is how it came to be called the city of David. He then built a wall round the city, all round, beginning from the Millo, and Joab restored the rest of the city. Thus David grew stronger and stronger, for Yahweh Sabaoth was with him. These are David's principal champions who joined forces with him in his kingdom, with all Israel, to make him king in accordance with the word of Yahweh concerning Israel. This is the roll of David's champions. Jashabim son of Hachmoni, head of the three. He it was who brandished his spear over 300 men whom he had killed at one time. Next, there was Eleazar son of Dodo, the Ahohite, one of the three champions. He was with David at Padamim when the Philistines mustered for battle there. There was a field full of barley there, and the people fled from the Philistines. And they took their stand in the middle of the field, held it and cut down the Philistines, and Yahweh brought about a great victory. 3 members of the 30 went down to David at the rock near the cave of Adullam, while a company of Philistines was encamped in the valley of the Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and there was a Philistine garrison in Bethlehem. Longingly, David said, "If only someone would fetch me a drink of water from the well that stands by the gate at Bethlehem." At this the 3 champions, forcing their way through the Philistine camp, drew water from the well that stands by the gate of Bethlehem and, bringing it away, presented it to David. David, however, would not drink any of it, but poured it out as a libation to Yahweh. "God preserve me," he said, "from doing such a thing. Am I to drink these men's blood?" For at the risk of their lives they brought it, and so he would not drink. Such were the deeds of the 3 champions. Abishai, brother of Joab, was leader of the 30. He it was who brandished his spear over 300 men whom he had killed, winning himself a name among the 30. He was a most illustrious member of the 30 and became their captain, but he was not equal to the 3. Benaiah son of Jehoiada from Kabzeel was the hero of many exploits. He it was who slaughtered 2 formidable Moabites and, one snowy day, climbed down and slaughtered the lion in the storage well. He also slaughtered an Egyptian, a man who was 7.5 feet tall. The Egyptian was armed with a spear in his hand like a weaver's beam, but he took him on with a staff, tore the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed the man with it. Such were the exploits of Benaiah son of Jehoiada, winning him a name among the 30 champions. He was a most illustrious member of the 30, but he was not equal to the 3. David put him in command of his bodyguard. The military champions were Asahel brother of Joab, Elhanan son of Dodo, of Bethlehem, Shammoth of Harar, Helaz the Pelonite, Ira son of Ikesh, of Tekoa, Abiezer of Anathoth, Sibbecai of Husha, Eli of Aho, Maharai of Netopha, Heled son of Baanah, of Netopha, Ithai son of Ribai, of Gibeah in Benjamin, Benaiah of Pirathon, Hurai of the torrents of Gash, Abel of Beth-Araba, Asmaveth of Bahurim, Eliaber of Shalban, the sons of Hashem of Jizan, Jonathan son of Shaji, of Harar, Ahiam son of Sachar, of Harar, Eliphalet son of Uar, Hefer of Meshera, Ahijah the Pelonite, Hezro of Carmel, Nerai son of Ezbai, Joel brother of Nathan, Mibhar son of Hagri, Zelek the Ammonite, Naharai of Beeroth, armor-bearer to Joab son of Zeruiah, Ira of Jadar, Gareb of Jatir, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad's son. Of Alai, Adinah son of Shiza the Reubenite, chief of the Reubenites and commander of the 30, Hanan son of Makkah, Joshaphat the Mithnite, Uzziah of Ashtaroth, Shammah and Jeiel sons of Hotham of Aroer, Jediel son of Shimri, and Joha his brother, the Tizite, Eliel the Mahavite, Jeribai and Joshaviah sons of Elnam, Ithma the Moabite, Eliel, Obed, and Jaziel of Zobah. First Chronicles, chapter 12. These are the men who rallied to David at Ziklag while he was still being kept away from Saul son of Kish. They were among the champions, the warriors. They were equipped with bows and could sling stones or shoot arrows from the bow with either right hand or left. Of Saul's fellow tribesmen from Benjamin, Ahiezer the leader, and Josh, sons of Hasamar of Gibeah, Jeziel and Peleth, sons of Asmaveth, Barachar and Jehu of Anathoth, Ishmael of Gibeon, one of the champions in the 30 and commander of the 30, Jeremiah, Jahaziel, Johanan and Jozabed of Gederoth, Eluzai, Jerimoth, Bealiah, Shemariah, Shephatiah of Hariph, Elkanah, Ishiah, Azarel, Jozer and Jashabim the Korahites, Joelah, Zebadiah, sons of Jeraham of Geder. From the Gadites, some good, capable fighting men defected and came to David at the stronghold in the desert, all skilled with shield and spear, fierce as lions and nimble as mountain gazelles. Ezra was the leader, Obadiah second, Eliab third, Mishmannah fourth, Jeremiah fifth, Attai sixth, Eliel seventh, Johanan eighth, Elzabad ninth, Jeremiah 10th, Machbani 11th. These Gadites were the leaders of the troops, the least of them a match for 100 men and the greatest a match for 1,000. These were the men who once crossed the Jordan in the first month, when it had overflowed its banks and had driven out all the lowlanders to east and west. Some of the Benjaminites and Judahites also joined David at the stronghold. When David came forward to meet them, he responded to them by saying, "If you have come to me with peaceful intent to help me, you will find me a good friend. But if it is to betray me to my enemies, seeing that I have done nothing wrong, may the God of our ancestors take note and condemn you." Then the Spirit invested Amasai, the leader of the 30. "We are your men, David. With you, son of Jesse. Peace be with you, peace be with you. Peace be with those who help you, for your God has helped you." And David accepted them, including them among his more senior officers. Some Manasseites also defected to David as he was setting out with the Philistines to fight Saul. But he did not help the Philistines because, after consultation, their chiefs sent him away, saying, "He will defect to his master Saul, and it will cost us our heads." He was on his way to Ziklag when these Manasseites deserted to him. Adnah, Jozabad, Jediel, Michael, Jozabad, Elihu, Zillethai, chiefs of thousands in Manasseh. They helped David and his band, since they were all men of standing and became officers in the army. Indeed, reinforcements reached David day after day, so that his camp grew into a camp of prodigious size. These are the numbers of fully armed men who joined David at Hebron to transfer Saul's kingdom to him in accordance with the order of Yahweh. Judahites carrying shield and spear, 6,800 fully armed warriors, Simonites, 7,100 champions valiant in war, Levites, 4,600, in addition to Jehoiada, in command of the Aaronites, with 3,700 of these, Zadok, a young and valiant champion, and 22 commanders of his family, Benjaminites, 3,000 kinsmen of Saul, most of them hitherto in the service of the house of Saul, Ephraimites, 20,800 valiant champions, men famous in their families. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh, 18,000 men assigned by name to go and proclaim David king. Issacharites, sound judges of the times when Israel should take action, and the way to do it. 200 chiefs and all their kinsmen under their command. Zebulunites, 50,000 men fit for service, marshaled for battle, with warlike weapons of every kind, staunch-hearted auxiliaries. Naphtalites, 1,000 commanders, and with them 37,000 men armed with shield and spear, Danites, 28,600 men marshaled for battle, Asherites, 40,000 men fit for service, marshaled for battle, from Transjordan, 120,000 men of Reuben, Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh, with warlike weapons of every kind. All these warriors in battle array came to David at Hebron with a firm determination of making David king of all Israel. And the rest of Israel, too, was of one mind in wanting to make David king. For 3 days they stayed there with David, eating and drinking, their fellow tribesmen having made preparations for them. Their neighbors, too, from as far away as Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali, came bringing food on donkeys, camels, mules and oxen, supplies of flour, fig cakes, bunches of raisins, wine, oil, quantities of oxen and sheep, for there was joy in Israel. First Chronicles, chapter 13. David conferred with the commanders of the thousands and the hundreds, in fact with all the leaders. Then, to the whole assembly of Israel, David said, "If this has your approval, and if Yahweh our God wills it so, we shall send messengers to the rest of our brothers throughout the territories of Israel, and also to the priests and Levites in their towns and pasture lands, bidding them join us. And then we will go and recover the ark of our God. For in the days of Saul we neglected to do it." The whole assembly agreed to this, because all the people thought that this was the right thing to do. So David summoned all Israel from the Shear of Egypt to the pass of Hamath, to bring the ark of God from Kiriath-Jearim. David and all Israel then went up to Bala, to Kiriath-Jearim in Judah, from there to bring up the ark of God, which bears the title Yahweh enthroned on the winged creatures. They transported the ark of God out of Abinadab's house on a new cart. Uzzah and Ahio drove the cart. David and all Israel danced before God with all their might, singing to the accompaniment of harps, lyres, tambourines, cymbals, and trumpets. When they came to the threshing floor of the javelin, Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark, as the oxen were making it tilt. This roused Yahweh's anger against Uzzah, and he struck him down because he had laid his hand on the ark, and there he died before God. David resented Yahweh's having broken out against Uzzah, and the place was given the name Perez-Uzzah, which it still has today. That day David felt afraid of God. "How can I bring the ark of God to be with me?" he said. So David did not take the ark with him into the city of David, but had it put in the house of Obed-Edom of Gath. The ark of God remained with Obed-Edom, in his house, for 3 months, and Yahweh blessed Obed-Edom's family and everything that belonged to him. First Chronicles, chapter 14. Hiram king of Tyre sent envoys to David, with cedar wood, stonecutters and carpenters, to build him a palace. David then knew that Yahweh had confirmed him as king of Israel and, for the sake of his people, had extended his sovereignty. David took more wives in Jerusalem and fathered more sons and daughters. These are the names of the children born to him in Jerusalem: Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, Solomon, Ibhar, Elishua, Elplet, Noga, Nepheg, Japhia, Elishama, Biliada, Eliphalet. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed as king of all Israel, they all invaded to seek him out. On hearing this, David marched out towards them. When the Philistines arrived, they deployed in the valley of the Rephaim. David consulted God and asked, "Shall I attack the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my power?" Yahweh replied to him, "Attack. I shall deliver them into your power." Accordingly, they went up to Baal-perazim, and there David defeated them. David said, "Through me God has made a breach in my enemies, as though they had been breached by a flood." This is why the place was given the name Baal-perazim. They had left their gods behind there, and David ordered them to be burnt. Again the Philistines deployed in the valley. David again consulted God, and God replied, "Do not attack them from the front. go round and engage them opposite the balsam trees. When you hear the sound of footsteps in the tops of the balsam trees, launch your attack, for that will be God going out ahead of you to defeat the Philistine army." David did as God had ordered, and they beat the Philistine army from Gibeon to Gezer. David's fame then spread to every country, and Yahweh made him feared by every nation. First Chronicles, chapter 15. After he had put up buildings for himself in the city of David, he prepared a place for the ark of God and pitched a tent for it. David then said, "No one but the Levites should carry the ark of God, since Yahweh has chosen them to carry the ark of Yahweh and to minister to him forever." David then summoned all Israel to Jerusalem, to move the ark of Yahweh to the place which he had prepared for it. David also called the sons of Aaron and the Levites together. Of the sons of Kohath, Uriel the chief and his 120 kinsmen. Of the sons of Merari, Asaiah the chief and his 220 kinsmen. Of the sons of Gershom, Joel the chief and his 130 kinsmen. Of the sons of Elizaphan, Shemaiah the chief and his 200 kinsmen. Of the sons of Hebron, Eliel the chief and 80 kinsmen. Of the sons of Uzziel, Amminadab the chief and his 112 kinsmen. David then sent for the priests Zadok and Abiathar, and the Levites Uriel, Asaiah, Joel, Shemaiah, Eliel and Amminadab. To them he said, "You are the heads of the Levitical families. Sanctify yourselves, you and your kinsmen, so that you can move the ark of Yahweh, God of Israel, to the place which I have prepared for it. Because you were not there the first time, Yahweh our God broke out at us because we did not handle it properly." So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to move the ark of Yahweh, God of Israel, and the Levites carried the ark of God with the shafts on their shoulders, as Moses had ordered in accordance with the word of Yahweh. David also told the heads of the Levites to appoint their kinsmen as singers with the accompaniment of musical instruments, lyres, harps, and cymbals to play joyfully. The Levites then appointed Heman son of Joel, Asaph son of Berechiah, one of his brothers, Ethan son of Kishiah, one of their Merarite kinsmen, and with them their kinsmen of the second rank, Zechariah, Uzziel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Uni, Eliab, Benaiah, Messiah, Mattathiah, Eliphelahu, Micniah, and Obed-Edom and Jehiel the gatekeepers. The singers, Heman, Asaph and Ethan, were to play the bronze cymbals. Zechariah, Uzziel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Uni, Eliab, Messiah and Benaiah were to play the lyre. Mattathiah, Eliphelahu, Micniah, Obed-Edom, Jehiel and Azaziah, giving the beat, were to play the harp. Shenaniah, the Levitical director of transport, was in charge of the transport, being skillful at it. Berechiah and Elkanah were gatekeepers for the ark. The priests Shebaniah, Joshaphat, Nethanel, Amasai, Zechariah, Benaiah and Eleazar blew trumpets before the ark of God, while Obed-Edom and Jehiah were also gatekeepers for the ark. David, the elders of Israel and the commanders of the thousands accordingly went, amid great rejoicing, to bring the ark of the covenant of Yahweh up from Obed-Edom's house. And since God was helping the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, they sacrificed 7 bulls and 7 rams. David, all the Levites who carried the ark, the singers and Shenaniah, director of transport, wore cloaks of fine linen. David also wore a linen ephod. Thus, with war cries and the sounding of the horn, the trumpets and the cymbals, and the music of lyres and harps, all Israel transported the ark of the covenant of Yahweh. Now, as the ark of the covenant of Yahweh entered the city of David, Michal daughter of Saul was watching from the window, and, when she saw King David dancing and playing, the sight of him filled her with contempt. First Chronicles, chapter 16. They brought the ark of God in and put it inside the tent which David had erected for it, and brought burnt offerings and made communion sacrifices in God's presence. And when David had finished making burnt offerings and communion sacrifices, He blessed the people in the name of Yahweh. To all the Israelites, both men and women, to each, he then distributed a loaf of bread, a portion of meat and a raisin cake. He appointed some of the Levites as ministers before the ark of Yahweh, to extol, glorify and praise Yahweh, God of Israel. First Asaph, second Zechariah, then Uzziel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Mattathiah, Eliab, Benaiah, Obed-Edom and Jeiel, who played the lyre and harp, while Asaph played the cymbals. The priests Benaiah and Jahaziel continually blew the trumpet before the ark of the covenant of God. On that day, David was the first to assign to Asaph and his kinsmen the giving of thanks to Yahweh. Give thanks to Yahweh, call his name aloud, proclaim his deeds to the peoples. Chant to him, play to him, sing about all his wonders. Take pride in his holy name, let your heart rejoice, you seekers of Yahweh. Seek out Yahweh, seek his strength, continually seek out his presence. Remember what wonders he has done, what miracles, what rulings he has given. You offspring of Israel his servant, you children of Jacob his chosen one. For he is Yahweh our God. His authority extends throughout the world. Forever remember his covenant, the pact imposed for 1,000 generations, which he concluded with Abraham, which was sworn by him to Isaac, since he confirmed it as a law for Jacob, as an eternal covenant for Israel, saying, I will give you the country. Canaan is the measure of your inheritance, though you are few in number, only a few strangers there. As they wandered from nation to nation, from this kingdom to that people, he would not let anyone oppress them, and on their account he admonished kings, You are not to touch my anointed ones, my prophets are not to be harmed. Sing to Yahweh, all the earth, day after day proclaim his salvation. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvels to every people. Great is Yahweh, worthy of all praise, more awesome than any of the gods. Nothingness all the gods of the nations. Yahweh it was who made the heavens. In his presence are splendor and majesty, in his sanctuary strength and joy. Give Yahweh his due, families of peoples. Give Yahweh his due of glory and power. Give Yahweh the glory due to his name. Bring an offering and enter his courts. Bow down to Yahweh in his sacred court. Tremble before him, all the earth. The world is firm, it cannot be moved. Let the heavens rejoice and earth be glad. Say among the nations, Yahweh is king. Let the sea thunder and all it holds. The countryside exult and everything that is in it. And all the trees of the forest cry out for joy at Yahweh's approach, for he is coming to judge the earth. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good, for his faithful love lasts forever. Say, Save us, God of our salvation. Gather us together and free us from the nations, so that we may give thanks to your holy name, to be extolled whenever you are praised. Blessed be Yahweh, God of Israel, from everlasting to everlasting. To which all the people said, Amen, Alleluia. There before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, David left Asaph and his kinsmen to maintain a permanent ministry before the ark as each day's ritual required, and also Obed-Edom with his 68 kinsmen. Obed-Edom son of Jeduthun, and Hosea were gatekeepers. Zadok the priest and the priests, his kinsmen, he left before the dwelling of Yahweh on the high place at Gibeon to bring burnt offerings to Yahweh unfailingly, morning and evening, on the altar of burnt offering, and to carry out all that is written in the law of Yahweh laid down for Israel. With them were Heman and Jeduthun and the rest of those who were chosen and assigned by name to give thanks to Yahweh, for his faithful love lasts forever. With them were Heman and Jeduthun to play trumpets and cymbals, as well as instruments for accompanying sacred song. The sons of Jeduthun were in charge of the gates. Then all the people went back to their homes, and David went back to bless his household. First Chronicles, chapter 17. It happened, once David had settled into his palace, that David said to the prophet Nathan, Here am I living in a cedar wood palace, while the ark of the covenant of Yahweh is under awnings. Nathan said to David, Do whatever you have in mind, for God is with you. But that very night the word of God came to Nathan, as follows: "Go and tell my servant David, Yahweh says this, you must not build a temple for me to live in. I have never lived in a house from the day when I brought Israel out until today, but have kept traveling from tent to tent and from shelter to shelter. In all my travels with all Israel, did I say to any of the judges of Israel, whom I had commanded to shepherd my people, why do you not build me a cedar wood temple? This is what you must say to my servant David. Yahweh Sabaoth says this: I took you from the pasture, from following the sheep, to be leader of my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you went. I have got rid of all your enemies for you. I am going to make your fame like that of the greatest men on earth. I am going to provide a place for my people Israel. I shall plant them there, and there they will live and never be disturbed again. Nor will they be oppressed by the wicked as they were in former times, ever since I instituted judges to govern my people Israel. I shall subdue all your enemies. Yahweh moreover tells you that he will build you a dynasty. And when your days are over and you have gone to join your ancestors, I shall appoint your heir, who will be one of your sons, to succeed you, and I shall make his sovereignty secure. He will build a temple for me, and I shall make his throne secure forever. I shall be his father, and he will be my son, and I shall not withdraw my favor from him, as I withdrew it from your predecessor. I shall set him over my temple and kingdom forever, and his throne will be forever secure. Nathan related all these words and this whole revelation to David. King David then went in, sat down in Yahweh's presence, and said, Who am I, Yahweh God, and what is my lineage, that you have led me as far as this? Yet to you, O God, this seemed too little, and now you extend your promises for your servant's family into the distant future, making me see as it were a whole succession of men, and it is Yahweh God himself who raises it up. What more can David reply to you for the honor you have given to your servant? You yourself have singled out your servant, for your servant, and since you were so inclined, you have had the generosity to reveal all this greatness to come. Yahweh, there is no one like you, no God but you alone, as everything that we have heard confirms. Is there another people on earth like your people Israel, whom a God has proceeded to redeem, to make them his people and to make them famous and do for them great and terrible deeds, by driving out nations before your people, whom you redeemed from Egypt? For you made your people Israel your own people forever, and you, Yahweh, became their God. Now, Yahweh, may the promise which you have made for your servant and as regards his family hold good forever, and do as you have said. May it hold good, so your name will be exalted forever, and people will say, Israel's God is Yahweh Sabaoth. He is God for Israel. Your servant David's dynasty will be secure before you, since you, my God, have disclosed to your servant that you are going to build him a dynasty. Hence, your servant has ventured to offer this prayer to you. Yes, Yahweh, you are God indeed, and you have made this generous promise to your servant. What is more, you have deigned to bless your servant's dynasty, so that it may remain forever before you. And since you, Yahweh, have blessed it, blessed will it be forever. First Chronicles, chapter 18. After this David defeated the Philistines and subdued them. From the grip of the Philistines he wrested Gath and its dependencies. He also defeated the Moabites. The Moabites became David's subjects and paid him tribute. David also defeated Hadadezer king of Zobah, which lies in the direction of Hamath, when the latter mounted an expedition to assert his rule on the river Euphrates. David captured 1,000 chariots, 7,000 charioteers, and 20,000 foot soldiers from him. David hamstrung all the chariot teams, keeping only 100 of them. The Arameans of Damascus came to the help of Hadadezer king of Zobah, but David killed 22,000 of the Arameans. David then imposed governors in Aram of Damascus, and the Arameans became David's subjects and paid him tribute. Wherever David went, Yahweh gave him victory. David took the golden shields carried by Hadadezer's guards and brought them to Jerusalem. From Tibhath and from Cun, towns belonging to Hadadezer, David captured a great quantity of bronze, with which Solomon made the bronze sea, the pillars and the bronze implements. When king of Hamath heard that David had defeated the entire army of Hadadezer king of Zobah, he sent his son Hadaram to King David to greet him and to congratulate him on having made war on Hadadezer and on having defeated him, since Hadadezer was at war with two. He also sent all sorts of objects made of gold, silver and bronze, which King David also consecrated to Yahweh, as well as the silver and gold which he had levied from all the nations, from Edom, Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines and Amalek. Abishai son of Zeruiah defeated the Edomites in the Valley of Salt, 18,000 of them. He stationed garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's subjects. Wherever David went, Yahweh gave him victory. David ruled over all Israel, administering law and justice to all his people. Joab son of Zeruiah was in command of the army. Jehoshaphat son of Ahilud was herald. Zadok son of Ahitub and Abiathar son of Ahimelech were priests. Shushah was secretary. Benaiah son of Jehoiada was in command of the Cherethites and Pelethites. David's sons took first place after the king. First Chronicles, chapter 19. After this, when Nahash king of the Ammonites died and his son Hanun succeeded him, David thought, I shall show Hanun son of Nahash the same faithful love as his father showed me. And David sent representatives to offer him condolences over his father. But when David's representatives reached Hanun in the Ammonites' country to present these condolences, the Ammonite leaders said to Hanun, Do you really think David means to honor your father when he sends you messengers with sympathy? On the contrary, the reason why his representatives have come to you is to explore, overthrow and reconnoiter the country. Whereupon Hanun seized David's representatives, shaved them, cut their clothes off halfway up, right by their buttocks, and sent them away. As soon as David was told how the men had been treated, he sent someone to meet them, since the men were overcome with shame. Stay in Jericho, the king said, until your beards have grown, and come back then. When the Ammonites realized that they had antagonized David, Hanun and the Ammonites sent 1,000 talents of silver to hire chariots and cavalry from the Arameans of Upper Mesopotamia, of Makkah and of Zobah. They hired 32,000 chariots and the king of Makkah with his people, who came and encamped before Medeba, while the Ammonites, having left their towns and mustered, were advancing to the war. When David heard this, he sent Joab with the whole army, the champions. The Ammonites marched out and drew up their line of battle at the city gate, while the kings who had come kept their distance in the open country. Joab, seeing that he had to fight on two fronts, to his front and to his rear, chose the best of Israel's picked men and drew them up in line facing the Arameans. He entrusted the rest of the army to his brother Abishai, and drew them up in line facing the Ammonites. If the Arameans prove too strong for me, he said, you must come to my help. If the Ammonites prove too strong for you, I shall come to yours. Be brave and let us fight valiantly, for the sake of our people and for the cities of our God, and let Yahweh dispose as he thinks fit. Joab and the force with him joined battle with the Arameans, who fled at his onslaught. When the Ammonites saw that the Arameans had fled, they too fled from his brother Abishai and withdrew into the city. Joab then returned to Jerusalem. The Arameans, realizing that Israel had got the better of them, sent messengers and mobilized the Arameans living on the other side of the river, with Shophak, commander of Hadadezer's army, at their head. David, being informed of this, mustered all Israel, crossed the Jordan, made contact with them and took up position near them. David drew up his line of battle facing the Arameans, who then engaged him. But the Arameans fled from Israel, and David killed 7,000 of their chariot teams and 40,000 men, and also Shophak, the commander of the army. When Hadadezer's vassals saw that Israel had got the better of them, they made peace with David and became his subjects. The Arameans were unwilling to give any more help to the Ammonites. First Chronicles, chapter 20. At the turn of the year, at the time when kings go campaigning, Joab led out the troops and, having ravaged the Ammonites' territory, proceeded to lay siege to Rabbah. David, however, remained in Jerusalem. Joab reduced Rabbah and dismantled it. David took the crown off Milcom's head and found that it weighed a talent of gold, and in it was set a precious stone which went on David's head instead. He carried off great quantities of booty from the city, and he expelled its inhabitants, setting them to work with saws, iron picks and axes. David treated all the Ammonite towns in the same way. David and all the people then returned to Jerusalem. After this war broke out with the Philistines at Gezer. This was when Sibbecai of Husha killed Sippai, one of the Rephaim, and the Philistines were subdued. Again, war with the Philistines broke out, and Elhanan son of Jair killed Lami brother of Goliath of Gath, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. There was further warfare at Gath, where there was a man of huge stature with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. He too was a son of Rapha. When he defied Israel, Jonathan son of Shemaiah, brother of David, cut him down. These men were sons of Rapha in Gath and fell at the hands of David and his guards. First Chronicles, chapter 21. Satan took his stand against Israel and incited David to take a census of Israel. David said to Joab and the people's princes, "Go and take a census of Israel, from Beersheba to Dan. Then bring it back to me and let me know the total." Joab replied, "May Yahweh multiply his people to 100 times what they are today. But my lord king, are they not all my lord's servants in any case? Why should my lord insist on this? Why should he involve Israel in guilt?" But the king enforced his order on Joab, and Joab set out, traveled throughout all Israel, and then returned to Jerusalem. Joab gave David the census results for the people. All Israel had 1,100,000 men who could wield a sword. Judah had 470,000 men who could wield a sword. Joab had found the king's commands so distasteful that he did not include Levi and Benjamin. God looked with displeasure on this and punished Israel in consequence. David then said to God, "I have committed a grave sin by doing this. But now I beg you to forgive your servant for this fault, for I have acted very foolishly." Yahweh then spoke to Gad, David's seer, "Go and say to David, Yahweh says this, I offer you 3 things. Choose which one of them I am to inflict on you." So Gad went to David and said, "Yahweh says this, take your choice between 3 years of famine, or 3 months of disaster at the hands of your enemies, with your enemy's sword overtaking you, or 3 days of Yahweh's sword, an epidemic in the country, while the angel of Yahweh wreaks havoc throughout the territory of Israel." David said to Gad, "I am very apprehensive. Better for me to fall into Yahweh's hand, since his mercies are very great, than for me to fall into the hands of human enemies." So Yahweh unleashed an epidemic on Israel, and 70,000 Israelites succumbed. Next, God sent the angel to Jerusalem to destroy it, but as he was about to destroy it, Yahweh looked down and felt sorry about the calamity, and he said to the destroying angel, "Enough now. Hold your hand." The angel of Yahweh was standing by the thresh floor of Ornan the Jebusite. David, raising his eyes, saw the angel of Yahweh standing between earth and heaven, a drawn sword in his hand stretched out towards Jerusalem. David and the elders then put on sackcloth and fell on their faces, and David said to God, "Did I not order the people to be counted? I was the one who sinned and actually committed the wrong. But these, the flock, what have they done? Yahweh my God, let your hand lie heavy on me and on my family, but spare your people from the plague." The angel of Yahweh then ordered Gad to tell David that David should go up and erect an altar to Yahweh on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So, at Gad's bidding, given in Yahweh's name, David went up. Ornan had turned round and seen the angel, and he and his 4 sons with him had hidden. When David arrived, Ornan was threshing wheat. He looked up and saw David and came off the threshing floor and prostrated himself on the ground at David's feet. David then said to Ornan, "Let me have the site of the threshing floor, so that I can build an altar to Yahweh on it. Let me have it at the full price, so that the plague may be lifted from the people." Ornan said to David, "Take it, and let my lord the king do what he thinks fit. Look, I shall give you the oxen for burnt offerings, the threshing sleds for the wood and the wheat for the oblation. I shall give everything." "No," said King David to Ornan, "I insist on buying it at the full price. I will not offer Yahweh what belongs to you or bring burnt offerings which have cost me nothing." So David gave Ornan 600 shekels of gold by weight for the site. There David built an altar to Yahweh and brought burnt offerings and peace offerings. He called on Yahweh, and Yahweh answered him with fire from heaven on the altar of burnt offering. Then Yahweh ordered the angel to sheathe his sword. Whereupon, seeing that Yahweh had answered him on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, David offered sacrifice there. The dwelling which Moses had made in the desert and the altar of burnt offering were at that time on the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go there to consult God because he was terrified of the angel's sword. First Chronicles, chapter 22. David then said, "This is to be the house of Yahweh God, and this the altar of burnt offering for Israel." David then gave orders for all foreigners in Israel to be rounded up, and appointed quarrymen to cut dressed stone for building the house of God. David also prepared great quantities of iron to make nails for the leaves of the doors and for the clamps, and more bronze than could be weighed, as well as innumerable cedar wood logs, as the Sidonians and Tyrians had brought cedar logs to David in great quantities. David then said, "My son Solomon is young and immature, and the house to be built for Yahweh must be superlatively fine, the most famous and splendid in any country. I shall now make the preparations for it." And so, before he died, David made ample preparations. He then summoned his son Solomon and commanded him to build a house for Yahweh, God of Israel. "My son," David said to Solomon, "my heart was set on building a house for the name of Yahweh my God. But the word of Yahweh came to me, 'You have shed much blood and fought great wars. It is not for you to build a house for my name, since you have shed much blood in my sight on earth. Look, a son will be born to you. He will be a man of peace, and I shall give him peace from his enemies on all sides. For Solomon is to be his name, and in his days I shall give Israel peace and tranquility. He must build a house for my name. He will be my son, and I shall be his father, and I shall make the throne of his kingdom secure over Israel forever. Now, my son, may Yahweh be with you and give you success in building a house for Yahweh your God, as he has promised about you. And especially, may Yahweh give you discretion and discernment. May he give you his orders for Israel, so that you may observe the law of Yahweh your God. Success will be yours, only if you observe the statutes and ordinances which Yahweh gave Moses as regulations for Israel. Be strong and stand fast. Be fearless, be dauntless. Now, poor as I am, I have set aside for the house of Yahweh 100,000 talents of gold, 1,000,000 talents of silver, and more bronze and iron than can be weighed, there being so much. I have also provided timber and stone, to which you may add more. Furthermore, you have a large number of workmen, quarrymen, masons, carpenters, and all sorts of craftsmen for every kind of work, while your gold and silver, bronze and iron will be beyond reckoning. Set to work, then, and may Yahweh be with you." David then commanded all the leaders of Israel to help his son Solomon. "Has not Yahweh your God been with you and given you peace on all sides, having put the inhabitants of the country into my power, and the country now having been subdued for Yahweh and his people? So now devote heart and soul to searching for Yahweh your God. Set to and build the sanctuary of Yahweh God, so that you can bring the ark of the covenant of Yahweh and the holy vessels of God into the house built for the name of Yahweh." First Chronicles, chapter 23. When David had become old and full of days, He made his son Solomon king of Israel, and then summoned all the leaders of Israel, with the priests and Levites. A census was taken of those Levites 30 years old and upwards. On account of heads, they numbered 38,000 men. 24,000 were responsible for the service of the house of Yahweh, 6,000 were officials and judges, 4,000 were gatekeepers, and 4,000 praised Yahweh on the instruments which David had made for praising him. David then divided the Levites into classes: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Of the Gershonites there were Laden and Shimei. Sons of Laden: Jehiel first, Zetham, Joel, 3 in all. Sons of Shimei: Shelomoth, Haziel, Haran, 3 in all. These are the heads of families of Laden. Sons of Shimei: Jahath, Zena, Jush, Beriah. These were the sons of Shimei, 4 in all. Jahath was the eldest, Ziza the second, then Jush and Beriah, who had not many children and were reckoned as one family. Sons of Kohath: Amram, Izhar, Hebron, Uzziel, 4 in all. Sons of Amram: Aaron and Moses. Aaron was set apart to consecrate the things that were especially holy, he and his sons forever, to burn incense in the presence of Yahweh, to serve him and to bless in his name forever. Moses, man of God, and his sons were reckoned with the tribe of Levi. Sons of Moses: Gershom and Eleazar. Sons of Gershom: Shebuel, the first. Of the sons of Eleazar, Rehabiah was the first. Eleazar had no other sons, but the sons of Rehabiah were very numerous. Sons of Izhar: Shelomith, the first. Sons of Hebron: Jeriah first, Amariah second, Jahaziel third, Jechamim fourth. Sons of Uzziel: Micah first, Ishiah second. Sons of Merari: Mali and Mushi. Sons of Mali: Eleazar and Kish. Eleazar died without sons, but he did have daughters, whom their cousins, the sons of Kish, married. Sons of Mushi: Mali, Eder, Jerimoth, 3 in all. These were the sons of Levi by their families, the heads of families, and those registered by name, individually. Whoever was 20 years old or upwards had his function in the service of the temple of Yahweh. For David said, "Since Yahweh, God of Israel, has given rest to his people Israel and has taken up residence in Jerusalem forever, the Levites need no longer carry the dwelling or any of the objects required for its service. For, according to the last words of David, the Levites who had been registered were of 20 years and upwards. Their duty now is to help the sons of Aaron in the service of the house of Yahweh, in the care of the courts and rooms, the purification of all the holy things, the work for the service of the house of God, the loaves of permanent offering, the flour for the oblation, the wafers of unleavened bread, the pan-baked materials, the unmixed materials and all measures of volume and length. Furthermore, they have to be present every morning to give thanks and praise to Yahweh, and also in the evening, and at the bringing of every burnt offering to Yahweh on Sabbath, new moon or solemn feast, appearing regularly before Yahweh in accordance with the numbers required of them. In serving the temple of Yahweh they observe the ritual of the tent of meeting, the ritual of the sanctuary and the ritual of their kinsmen, the sons of Aaron." First Chronicles, chapter 24. Orders of the sons of Aaron. Sons of Aaron: Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, Ithamar. Nadab and Abihu died in their father's lifetime, leaving no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar filled the office of priest. With Zadok of the sons of Eleazar, and Ahimelech of the sons of Ithamar, David allocated them according to the classification of their duties. Since the sons of Eleazar were found to have more headmen than the sons of Ithamar, they allocated 16 heads of families to the sons of Eleazar and 8 heads of families to the sons of Ithamar. They allocated them by lot, both alike, there being religious officials and officials of God among the sons of Eleazar, as among the sons of Ithamar. The Levitical scribe Shemaiah son of Nethanel recorded them in the presence of the king, the leaders, Zadok the priest, Ahimelech son of Abiathar, and the heads of the priestly and Levitical families, so that 2 families were selected for Eleazar, for each one selected for Ithamar. The first lot fell to Jehoiarib, the second to Jediah, the third to Haram, the fourth to Seorim, the fifth to Malchijah, the sixth to Mijamin, the seventh to Hakaz, the eighth to Abijah, the ninth to Jeshua, the 10th to Shechaniah, the 11th to Eliashib, the 12th to Jachim, the 13th to Huppah, the 14th to Ishbal, the 15th to Bilgah, the 16th to Immer, the 17th to Hezer, the 18th to Hapatzez, the 19th to Pethahiah, the 20th to Jehezkel, the 21st to Jachin, the 22nd to Gamal, the 23rd to Deliah, and the 24th to Maziah. These were their classifications for their duties when they entered the house of Yahweh in accordance with their prescriptions laid down by Aaron their ancestor, as Yahweh, God of Israel, had commanded him. As regards the rest of the sons of Levi, of the sons of Amram, Shubael; of the sons of Shubael, Jediah; as regards Rehabiah, of the sons of Rehabiah, Ishiah, the first one; of the sons of Izhar, Shelomoth; of the sons of Shelomoth, Jahath; of the sons of Hebron, Jeriah the first, Amariah the second, Jahaziel the third, Jechamim the fourth. The son of Uzziel was Micah; of the sons of Micah, Shemir; the brother of Micah was Ishiah; of the sons of Ishiah, Zechariah. The sons of Merari were Mali and Mushi; of his sons, Josiah his son. The sons of Merari by his son Josiah were Shoam, Zachar, and Ibri. Of Mali, there was Eleazar who had no sons, and Kish; and of the sons of Kish, Jeremiel. The sons of Mushi were Mali, Eder, and Jerimoth. These were the Levites according to families. Like their kinsmen, the sons of Aaron, these heads of families, senior and junior alike, also drew lots in the presence of King David, Zadok, Ahimelech, and the heads of the priestly and Levitical families. First Chronicles, chapter 25. For the liturgy, David and the religious official selected the sons of Asaph, of Heman, and of Jeduthun, who were to prophesy to the accompaniment of harps, lyres, and cymbals. The list of ministrants for this service was as follows: of the sons of Asaph, Zachar, Joseph, Nethaniah, Asherelah. The sons of Asaph were under the direction of Asaph, who prophesied at the king's direction. Of Jeduthun there were the sons of Jeduthun, Gedaliah, Zeri, Jeshaiah, Hashabiah, and Mattathiah, 6, under the direction of their father Jeduthun, who, with the harp, prophesied when thanks and praise were to be given to Yahweh. Of Heman there were the sons of Heman, Bukiah, Mattaniah, Uzziel, Shebuel, Jerimoth, Hananiah, Hanani, Eliathah, Gedalti, Romamtiezer, Joshbekashah, Malothi, Hothar, Mahaziath. All these were sons of Heman, the king's seer. At God's word they blew the horn. God gave Heman 14 sons and 3 daughters. Under the king's direction all these had the duty of singing to the accompaniment of cymbal, lyre, and harp for the liturgy of the house of God under the direction of their fathers. Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman, trained in the songs of Yahweh, with their brothers, numbered 288, all expert. Junior and senior, master and pupil alike, they drew lots for their term of duty. The first to whom the lot fell was the Asaphite, Joseph. The second was Gedaliah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The third was Zachar, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The fourth was Isri, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The fifth was Nethaniah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The sixth was Bukiah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The seventh was Jesharilah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The eighth was Jeshaiah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The ninth was Mattaniah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 10th was Shimei, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 11th was Azarel, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 12th was Hashabiah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 13th was Shubael, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 14th was Mattathiah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 15th was Jerimoth, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 16th was Hananiah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 17th was Joshbekashah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 18th was Hanani, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 19th was Malothi, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 20th was Eliathah, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 21st was Hothar, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 22nd was Gedalti, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 23rd was Mahaziath, who with his sons and brothers made 12. The 24th was Romamti-Ezer, who with his sons and brothers made 12. First Chronicles, chapter 26. As regards the orders of the gatekeepers, of the Korahites there was Meshelemiah son of Kore, one of the sons of Ebiasaph, and Meshelemiah's sons, Zechariah the firstborn, Jediel the second, Zebadiah the third, Jathniel the fourth, Elam the fifth, Jehohanan the sixth, Elioenai the seventh. Obed-Edom's sons were Shemaiah the firstborn, Jehozabad the second, Joah the third, Sakkar the fourth, Nethanel the fifth, Amiel the sixth, Issachar the seventh, Pulathai the eighth. God had indeed blessed him. His son Shemaiah also had sons who wielded authority in their family, because they were men of outstanding quality. The sons of Shemaiah were Othni, Rephael, Obed and Elzabad, whose brothers Elihu and Semachiah were outstanding men. All these were sons of Obed-Edom, who with their sons and brothers were men of standing, well fitted for their task. Obed-Edom had 62. Meshelemiah had 18 outstanding sons and brothers. Hosea, one of the sons of Merari, had sons. Shimri was the first, for although he was not the firstborn his father had made him the chief. Hilkiah was the second, Tebaliah the third, Zechariah the fourth. Hosea had 13 sons and brothers in all. These orders of gatekeepers, allocated according to their headmen, had duties, just like their brothers, of serving in the house of Yahweh. Similarly, they drew lots for each gate, whether their families were large or small. For the eastern one, the lot fell to Shelemiah, and when they drew lots for Zechariah his son, a shrewd counselor, his lot came out for the north. To Obed-Edom went the south, and to his sons the storehouses. To Shuppim and Hosea went the west with the gate of the felled tree trunk on the upper road. The corresponding guards were as follows: for the east gate, 6 per day; for the north gate, 4 per day; for the south gate, 4 per day; for the storehouses, 2 each; for the parbar the west gate, 4 by the road and 2 for the parbar. These were the orders of the gatekeepers of the sons of Korah and the sons of Merari. The Levites, their brothers, who were responsible for the treasures of the house of God and for the treasures of consecrated gifts, were the sons of Ladan and belonged to the Gershonites. The heads of the families of Ladan were descended from Ladan the Gershonite, that is to say, the Jehielites. The sons of the Jehielites, Zetham and Joel his brother, were responsible for the treasures of the house of Yahweh. Over the Amramites, Izharites, Hebronites, and Uzzielites was Shebuel son of Gershom, son of Moses, who was governor of the treasures. And his brothers of the line of Eleazar were Rehabiah his son, Jeshaiah his son, Joram his son, Zichri his son, and Shelomoth his son. This Shelomoth and his kinsmen were responsible for all the consecrated treasures dedicated by King David, by the heads of families, by the commanders of the thousands and hundreds, and by the commanders of the army, who had dedicated a part of the spoils of war to the service of the house of Yahweh, and also for all that Samuel the seer, Saul son of Kish, Abner son of Ner, and Joab son of Zeruiah had dedicated. In fact, whatever was dedicated was the responsibility of Shelomoth and his kinsmen. Of the Israelites, Shenaniah and his sons were assigned to secular duties for Israel as officials and judges. Of the Hebronites, Hashabiah and his kinsmen, 1,700 outstanding men were in charge of Israel west of Jordan in everything pertaining to Yahweh and to the service of the king. Of the Hebronites, Jerijah was the head. In the 40th year of David's reign, research was done on the lineage and relationships of the Hebronites, and men of outstanding quality from among them were found at Jazer in Gilead. There were 2,700 outstanding men, heads of families, whom King David put in charge of the Reubenites, the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh in all matters pertaining to God and the king. First Chronicles, chapter 27. The Israelites listed according to heads of families, commanders of thousands and hundreds, with their officials in the king's service who dealt with all matters affecting the companies on monthly duty, month by month throughout the year, each company consisting of 24,000 men. The commander of the first company detailed for the first month was Jashabim son of Zabdiel, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. He belonged to the family of Perez and was the senior military officer of all those detailed for the first month. The commander of the company for the second month was Dodai the Ahohite, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The officer commanding the third body of men for the third month was Benaiah son of Jehoiada, the chief priest, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. This was the Benaiah who was an important member of the 30 and his company. His son was Ammizabad. The fourth for the fourth month was Asahel brother of Joab, and his son Zebadiah after him, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The fifth officer commanding for the fifth month was Shamhuth the Zerahite, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The sixth for the sixth month was Ira son of Ikesh of Tekoa, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The seventh for the seventh month was Helez the Pelonite, one of the Ephraimites, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The eighth for the eighth month was Sibbecai of Husha, a Zerahite, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The ninth for the ninth month was Abiezer of Anathoth, a Benjaminite, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The 10th for the 10th month was Maharai of Netopha, a Zerahite, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The 11th for the 11th month was Benaiah of Pirathon, an Ephraimite, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. The 12th for the 12th month was Heldai of Netopha, of Othniel, whose company consisted of 24,000 men. Responsible for the tribes of Israel were Chief Eleazar son of Zikri for the Reubenites, Shephatiah son of Makkah for the Simonites, Hashabiah son of Kemuel for the Levites, Zadok for the Aaronites, Elihu, one of David's brothers, for Judah, Omri son of Michael for Issachar, Ishmael son of Obadiah for Zebulun, Jerimoth son of Osriel for Naphtali, Hosea son of Azaziah for the Ephraimites, Joel son of Pedaiah for the half-tribe of Manasseh, Iddo son of Zechariah for the half-tribe of Manasseh. In Gilead, Jaziel son of Abner for Benjamin, and Azarel son of Jeraham for Dan. These were the tribal chiefs of Israel. Now in the census David did not include those who were 20 years old and under, since Yahweh had promised to make Israel as numerous as the stars of heaven. Joab son of Zeruiah began the count but never finished. This is why retribution came upon Israel, and the number did not come up to that recorded in the annals of King David. Overseer of the king's supplies, Asmaveth son of Adiel. Overseer of supplies in the countryside, towns, villages and fortresses, Jonathan son of Uzziah. Overseer of the farmers who tilled the land, Ezri son of Caleb. Overseer of vineyards, Shimei of Ramah. Overseer of those in the vineyards who looked after the wine cellars, Zabdi of Shepham. Overseer of olive and sycamore trees in the Shephelah, Balhanan of Geder. Overseer of oil supplies, Josh. Overseer of cattle at pasture in the plains of Sharon, Shitrai of Sharon. Overseer of cattle in the valleys, Shaphat son of Adlai. Overseer of camels, Obil the Ishmaelite. overseer of donkeys, Jediah of Maranatha, overseer of flocks, Jazaiah the Hagrite. All the above supervised the property belonging to King David. Jonathan, David's uncle, a counselor, wise man and scribe, and Jehiel son of Hakmoni took care of the king's sons. Ahithophel was the king's counselor, and Hushai, the Archite, was friend of the king. Jehoiada son of Benaiah and Abiathar succeeded Ahithophel. Joab was commander of the king's army. First Chronicles, chapter 28. David then summoned to Jerusalem all the officials of Israel, the tribal chiefs, the senior officials in the royal service, the commanders of the thousands, the commanders of the hundreds, and the overseers of all the property and livestock belonging to the king and to his sons, including the court officials, the champions, and all the men of standing. King David then rose to his feet and said, "My brothers and my people, listen to me. I have set my heart on building a settled home for the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, for the footstool for our God. But when I was ready to build it, God said to me, 'You must not build a house for my name, for you have been a man of war and have shed blood.' Even so, out of my entire family, it was I whom Yahweh, God of Israel, chose to reign over Israel forever. Having chosen Judah as leader, and my family out of the house of Judah, it pleased him out of all my father's sons to make me king of all Israel. Out of all my sons, for Yahweh has given me many, he has chosen my son Solomon to sit on Yahweh's sovereign throne over Israel. Furthermore, he has told me, 'Solomon your son is the man to build my house and my courts. For I have chosen him to be my son, and I shall be his father. I shall make his sovereignty secure forever if he sturdily carries out my commandments and ordinances as he does now.' So now in the sight of all Israel, the assembly of Yahweh, and in the hearing of our God, I charge you to observe and adhere strictly to all the commandments of Yahweh your God, so that you may retain possession of this fine country and leave it to your sons after you as a heritage forever. And you, Solomon my son, know the God of your father and serve him with an undivided heart and willing mind. For Yahweh scrutinizes all hearts and understands whatever plans they may devise. If you seek him, he will let you find him. But forsake him and he will cast you off forever. So, since Yahweh has chosen you to build a house for his sanctuary, go resolutely to work." David then gave his son Solomon the plans for the portico, the plans for the buildings, its storehouses, its upper rooms, its inner rooms, and the room for the throne of mercy, as well as the plans for everything that he had in mind. For the courts of the house of Yahweh, for all the surrounding rooms, for the treasuries of the house of God, and for the sacred treasuries, for the orders of priests and Levites, for all the duties to be carried out in the service of the house of Yahweh, and for all the liturgical objects to be used in the house of Yahweh, for the gold bullion, for all the golden liturgical objects of various uses, for the silver bullion, for all the silver liturgical objects of various uses, for the gold bullion for the golden lampstands and for their lamps, and for the silver bullion for the silver lampstands and their lights, depending on the function of each lampstand, for the gold bullion for each of the tables for the loaves of permanent offering and the silver, for the silver tables, for the pure gold for the forks, the bowls and the jars, for the gold bullion for each of the golden basins, and for the silver bullion for each of the silver basins, and for the refined gold bullion for the altar of incense, also for the gold for the model of the chariot and of the great winged creatures which cover the ark of the covenant of Yahweh with wings outspread. All this was in the document conveying Yahweh's instructions, by which he revealed the pattern of what was to be done. David then said to his son Solomon, "Be resolute and courageous in your work. Do not be afraid or disheartened, because Yahweh God, my God, is with you. He will not fail you or forsake you before you have finished all the work to be done for the house of Yahweh. And besides, there are the orders of priests and Levites for whatever is needed in connection with the house of God, and you have at your disposal every kind of craftsman for whatever has to be done, as well as the officials and all the people entirely at your command." First Chronicles, chapter 29. David then addressed the whole assembly, Solomon my son, whom Yahweh has specifically chosen, is young and immature, and the work is great. This palace is not for any human being but for Yahweh God. With all the resources I can command, for the house of my God I have provided gold for what must be made of gold, silver for what must be made of silver, bronze for what must be made of bronze, iron for what must be made of iron, wood for what must be made of wood, as well as cornelian for inlay work, slabs of multicolored mosaic, every kind of precious stone and quantities of alabaster. Furthermore, because my affections are set on the house of my God, I have also given what gold and silver I personally own for the house of my God, over and above everything which I have already provided for the holy temple, that is to say, 3,000 talents of gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver for overlaying the walls of the buildings, the gold being for what must be made of gold, and the silver for what must be made of silver, and for whatever the craftsman must make. Who, then, is willing to devote himself to Yahweh's service today? At this, the heads of families, the tribal chiefs of Israel, the commanders of the thousands and the hundreds and those who manage the king's affairs, volunteered a gift of 5,000 talents and 10,000 derricks of gold, 10,000 talents of silver, 18,000 talents of bronze and 100,000 talents of iron, while those who owned precious stones presented them to the treasury of the house of Yahweh in the custody of Jehiel the Gershonite. The people rejoiced at what these had given so readily, since they had presented their free will offerings wholeheartedly to Yahweh. King David too was filled with joy. Hence, in the presence of the whole assembly David blessed Yahweh. David said, "May you be blessed, Yahweh, God of Israel our ancestor, forever and forever. Yours, Yahweh, is the greatness, the power, the splendor, length of days and glory. Everything in heaven and on earth is yours. Yours is the sovereignty, Yahweh. You are exalted, supreme over all. Wealth and riches come from you. You are ruler of all. In your hand lie strength and power, and you bestow greatness and might on whomsoever you please. So now, our God, we give thanks to you and praise your majestic name. For who am I and what is my people, for us to be able to volunteer offerings like this? Since everything has come from you and we have given you only what you bestowed in the first place, and we are guests before you, and passing visitors as were all our ancestors, our days on earth fleeting as a shadow and without hope. Yahweh our God, all this wealth, which we have provided to build a house for your holy name, has come from you and all belongs to you. Knowing, my God, how you examine our motives and how you delight in integrity, with integrity of motive I have willingly given all this and have been overjoyed to see your people, now present here, willingly offering their gifts to you. Yahweh, God of Abraham, Isaac and Israel our ancestors, watch over this forever. Shape the purpose of your people's heart and direct their hearts to you, and give an undivided heart to Solomon my son to keep your commandments, your decrees and your statutes, to put them all into effect and to build the palace for which I have made provision." David then addressed the whole assembly, "Now bless Yahweh your God." And the whole assembly blessed Yahweh, God of their ancestors, bowing down in homage to Yahweh, and to the king. On the day following this, they slaughtered sacrifices and brought burnt offerings to Yahweh on behalf of Israel. 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, 1,000 lambs with their libations, as well as many other sacrifices, and they ate and drank that day in Yahweh's presence with great joy. They then made Solomon son of David king a second time, anointing him as leader for Yahweh, and Zadok as priest. Solomon took his seat on Yahweh's throne, to reign in succession to David his father. He prospered, and all Israel obeyed him. All the chiefs, all the leading citizens and all King David's other sons pledged allegiance to King Solomon. Yahweh made Solomon exceedingly powerful, as all Israel could see, and gave him a reign of such splendor as no previous king of Israel ever had. David son of Jesse was king of all Israel. He was king of Israel for a period of 40 years. He reigned at Hebron for 7 years, and in Jerusalem for 33. He died at a good old age, full of days, riches, and honor. Then his son Solomon succeeded him. The history of King David, from first to last, is all written down in the records of Samuel the seer, the records of Nathan the prophet, and the records of Gad the seer, with his entire reign, his mighty deeds, and the times which he, Israel, and all the kings of other countries had experienced.